I made my first Jersey pop track and it took me less than an hour. I want to talk about how I did it. So, this is the mix, so to speak. So, let's start with this Rhodes intro. My thought process behind this song, first of all, the first thing I want to say is when you're doing any sort of pop music, it's really helpful to have an idea of what you want to do before you ever get to the computer. There was a song I was really enjoying and I wanted to make something sort of similar to it. Obviously I don't want to rip anything. So this is of a similar vibe to a different track that I really enjoy. And the other song also starts out with some kind of synth intro. So my first idea was to write a synth intro. So I'll tell you, when I sat down at the computer, came up with the BPM, it hasn't changed, it's at 116. I had the pattern for the drums in my head that would come in later. That's about all I was working with. And then I got up from the computer. From that point, I got up from the computer and I went upstairs to my family's fucking electric piano that they've just got sitting there. And I just came up with some shit. And then the first thing you do when you have a loop like this is add some variation if you can. So let's look at Rhodes intro number 2. Obviously that's been used a million times, but I plugged it in because things that you've heard before can be used as tools, even if you're not just copying what you've heard. This isn't an identical copy of wherever I've heard it before because I can't exactly remember. I'm overstressing the point, so let's move on. Well, I don't even think I had the synth sound figured out yet. So before, what I was doing was I just had like a sawtooth open in Serum 2. That's how I wrote this loop. So if we look at the Serum 2, this is a preset that I started with. Okay, a lot of people will get up in arms about using other people's presets. It's not really, you shouldn't be afraid to use presets because that's how a lot of music has always been made. Like when you look back at synthesizers and how they came designed, a lot of the time they just had presets. Like my synth, the microKORG, it's actually kind of hard to do generative or any sort of synthesis just from the ground up. It's not designed to do that. You're designed to pick a preset and continue working from there. So anyways, let's continue working from there. Found a synth sound that I liked, and then I started playing with the drums. So let's first look at the first drum loop that I wrote. It's just called Jersey. I meant for all the drums to be in this loop, but it ended up just being the kick. That's fine. It doesn't matter. So let's listen to this kick pattern. And if you don't instantly recognize this as a Jersey pattern, I don't really know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Of course, it started in the middle of the pattern. Yeah, getting a little self-indulgent here. Wow, apparently Jersey 2 has a bunch of shit in it. That's annoying. Oh, I think Jersey 3 or Jersey 2 is like the main loop that I came up with. So and apparently the hats keep going. Lol. Didn't even realize that. Okay, one thing I do want to say with these loops, for one thing, a really useful tool. If you don't know this, you can build everything into one loop, and then you can click split by channel, and it will cut things up for you. That's nice always. I probably just pasted together the song structure as I went, like with these kind of Jersey sounds, these Jersey effects. Like that's the Jersey swish is what it's called. And I just added some delay. And then along this track too, we have some bed squeaks, which also have that same delay. They're probably on the same track as each other. I consolidated the kick pattern into this sample we've got here, and then I put it on its own track. And here is a really useful trick, gang. Okay, so this is the track. For this kick sample, which I sampled from myself in the same song, in order to get this kind of hollow sound at the beginning that sounds like in a different room and all that shit, there's a really easy way to do it, and here's what I did. I have this kind of telephone filter. There's a preset on the Fruity Parametric EQ called Old Telephone, and it looks very similar to this. I just made it kind of more narrow and shorter. And normally the kick has a bunch of frequencies down here, but these are all they're all gone. So it just sounds like like a breathy, airy, percussive sound. And then what you can do, if you take a gander here, there's a volume track and then a parametric EQ mixer level track. So watch this dial, this automation track, as I press the play button, and you can see the automation track. A little sneak peeksty. Let's just zoom in on the kick. I mean, you can hear how it fades from being that ethereal sound that we heard. Whoops. You need the automation track too. But you can hear how it changes as we play this into that more solid kick sound as those effects get taken away. That's a really powerful trick. So then from there, I kind of had this intro. I added some modifications to the EQ that changed the sound of the synth as it goes in. But we start out with this loop that I had, and it's got this kick pattern. That's cool. And then it fades into something, right? And so then from there, I have the choice of either repeating the loop a bunch more or chopping it up and making something new. And I always want to chop it up and make something new, right? So here's what I ended up doing. I took this MIDI pattern. This was probably kind of a foolish way to do this, but I took the MIDI pattern and I chopped it up literally like this. But there's one thing I want to show you with this, and it's these subtleties in the MIDI. This right here is a big deal. So if you look at these two notes, they're as short as I conveniently could make them at the time, and the velocity is also 0 on these notes. It's as low as it will go. When you have an instrument in FL Studio and it's being played through MIDI, the sound tends to carry through after the MIDI note is over. That just happens a lot. There's residual effects and things that happen in the sound. There's a lot that can cause it to do that. And so one of the easiest ways for me to deal with that is to just put these dummy notes in here. Like, I want this sound to be done exactly right here, right? In this choppy section. So I made the pattern unique and I added these MIDI notes, and this will stop the sound. These 0 velocity notes stop any sample that's being played. So I don't even need both of them. I only need one. It was just an artifact of how I was doing it that these are both here. But you can hear in the pattern. Well, you can't hear in the pattern. You can hear from here. It goes da da dun da da dun, and then it backs off really fast because of those 0 velocity notes. That's a trick I learned from my homie Jimothy. If you haven't seen his channel, you should check it out. It's some good shit. And then from there, I came up with more melodies and shit. And so I kind of had this like beat. Let me put that all together for you. This is what I had. Right? And then from there, naturally, we need the bass. I'm not even going to introduce this. I'm just going to play it because it's simple. You got to keep the bass simple. If you don't keep the bass simple, what the fuck are you doing? So that's all fine and dandy, right? But this, in order to get taken to like a step above where it was, it needed some vocals. And this is where things get kind of tricky. Here's how I like to do vocals. Write some kind of melody, write some lyrics, and then 3, finish those 2 things up as I record the vocals. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of a do all of them at the same time, but start with the melody and then get working on lyrics and then start recording vocals. It should be a kind of a holistic process, if you know what I'm saying. So what I like to do is I'll write the melody, which I did. So let's listen to it. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Whoops, can't sing still. So I wrote it in that instrument first, but then I was like, oh, I remembered that that was a mistake, and what you should do is use an instrument that kind of sounds weird in the mix and sounds outside so that it stands out and you can easily identify that that's the melody. I should be singing that while I'm listening to it and recording my vocals. That's how you should write these melodies. So that's why I use the synth lead. Where is the synth lead? I think it's here. So that was originally across the entire track. Like this melody was here anywhere that I had vocals that I wanted to be put in. And I just had it playing the melody that I wanted to sing as I was singing it. And then I just deleted it later. And that helped me to stay in tune and all this different stuff. I'm not going to show you guys my raw vocals, but in case you know, there's tons of tutorials online for how to record raw vocals. Just use Edison and get your instrumentation right, get your instruments, like your hardware set up beforehand completely so that you don't have to do, like I literally just press one button when I'm ready to record and then it's like, oh, now the mic's on, you know, now I can hear it. But that's a really good way to do it. Try to have that stuff set up as early as you can. Let's listen to these. You hate me? So these vocals have a lot of effects on them. Like your dad did. Why do you still call me? I really can't stress enough the importance of doing multiple takes when you record your vocals. Like really as many takes as you feel comfortable doing. Just because, I mean, look at all this material I had to work with. I got a bunch of stuff I'm not even using. It's important that you have all those takes because you're going to make mistakes with your singing. You know, Michael Jackson took multiple takes. Like not as many as most people, but he definitely did more than one a lot of the time where it wasn't strictly necessary. So even just layering your goddamn vocals, it's just, you got to do more than one take. Let's listen to the kind of main chorus just part. Hold me like you need me, hold me like you need it. I want to talk about the effects I threw on the vocals. Don't ever let me go. It's kind of a monster, right? Like you're looking at all this and it's like, holy shit, Bruce, what are you doing? Turns out most of this really isn't necessary. It's just kind of what I prefer. So the first thing I did is cut out kind of the low end down here. If it's not a kick drum or a bass, you got to cut out the low end, okay? Thanks. This picture, you need to customize the key, which I did. It's just this pentatonic in the E flat. This is kind of the secret sauce, I'm not going to lie. It's a rate crush and a very light bit crush on the vocals. We've got our Maximus de-esser. Don't look at my de-esser, I'm sorry. Just don't look at it. We've got a, oh God, this is embarrassing. Some kind of, oh, yep, some kind of filter. I've got some compression, Oh, yeah, another filter. Great. And then, yep. Default reverb setting, default delay setting. Turned down in the mix. Oh, why did I open this? That was stupid. Okay. Well, it sounds good. That's the important part. Oh, I forgot to show you how I like to do the lyrics. So I literally just, I window FL into a slightly smaller window, and then I open up a notepad file, and I just be playing that loop over and over, like the same 8-bar section over and over that needs lyrics but doesn't have them written yet. And then I record the vocals with the notepad file open, and it's super easy. So that's how I do it. Cut out the melodies where they didn't belong, put in the vocals, mixed them, mixed everything again. Yeah, that's how I did it. Let's listen. Why can't you hate me like your dad did? Why do you still call me?